Why Teach It When You Can Just Google It by Channing, Jody, and Nicole. It's time to consider your teaching practices to see if they're up to snuff with this ever-changing world we are preparing our kids for, or we think we are preparing our kids for. Consider this. The one who explains learns, and the one who listens forgets promptly. Who's learning in your traditional classroom? You while you explain, or your students while they Google? The rapid change of knowledge. We are increasingly becoming a world where knowledge is obsolete. The value of memorized knowledge is dropping due to many factors. Remember this? Yeah, about that, right? Why is it that we are increasingly becoming a world where the value of knowledge is dropping? Well, knowledge is changing faster than ever before. There's an expiration date on all knowledge. No longer are textbooks and teacher knowledge up-to-date resources based on the rapid change and evolution of knowledge. We need to constantly re-educate ourselves, avoid memorization, and start fact-checking to make sure we stay at the top of the knowledge food chain. Human knowledge is growing. Back in the 1900s, it took 100 years for human knowledge to double. Today, it takes 1 to 2 years. Consider this. In one student's 4 years in high school, knowledge will double twice. How can we as teachers keep up to that pace of knowledge? Knowledge about specifics is becoming obsolete. Access. In today's world, everyone has access to a smartphone and the internet at any time. This gives us access to human knowledge anywhere, anytime. It's always at our fingertips. Memorization techniques are of the past. Memorization is often mistaken for learning. Instead, we need to teach students the skills to find and build their own knowledge and not just fill them with knowledge. Don't panic, everyone. Wikipedia is always up to date on facts. You have access to it 24/7. You got this. It really is time for you to consider, should education be about getting students to know more facts or encouraging them to become independent learners who can solve problems?
Now that we know and understand how knowledge has changed, we must look at how schools are preparing kids for that change. These kids are going to run our world in the next 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. Statistics show that 65% of grade school children will have jobs that do not exist today. So what skills are we giving them in order to prepare them for a world that we don't know it's coming, but what are you doing as a teacher to prepare them for that world? Access to technologies like Google fosters skills that allow them to be successful in those types of world. They don't need to know specific pieces of information, but rather they need to know how to make a choice, how to collaborate, how to communicate with other people, how to think beyond what they already know and critically and accept that things have to change. And then how do they be creative? How do they accept that they have ideas that are valuable and they can build on those ideas? Forbes magazine shared an article about skills that employers say millennials need to be employable in 2017. The first thing they need is attention. If we give students tools like Google and we give them a topic that they are interested in, we allow them to choose that and give them an opportunity to explore those interests on something like Google, we're taking away what we know as being important because it's what we as the teacher know and allowing them to decide what they feel is important. They need agility. They need to be able to keep going. So maybe they can't find what they need. They don't need to come to us. They need to learn how to figure that out. And humility is important. Accepting failure, accepting that you're not going to find exactly what you want, but you need to find ways to do that. And they need more than college. Knowledge gathering is wonderful. Education is wonderful. We all have it. We seek it. But how are we giving them opportunities to use the skills they need to be successful in their future? Google is the answer.
Technology efficiency. As educators, we can often be a bit hypocritical. Imagine the immense amount of time it would take us to do our jobs if we did not utilize tools such as PowerSchool, Gradebook, Microsoft Outlook, and Google to calculate student grades, track attendance, store information, communicate with colleagues, and share resources. These tools help us to remain efficient and productive. This is an example of how rote learning can be replaced with meaningful learning that has purpose and application. It's time we look towards the future to make these changes with our students as well. How then does limiting students from resources available to them, such as Google, create well-educated and digitally literate individuals? The answer is it does not. A well-educated individual should be able to successfully participate in a global economy, synthesize and utilize vast rivers of information, engage with this information across a variety of disciplines, be comfortable negotiating a range of social connections, and serve as an engaged and responsible member of one's profession and one's community. By allowing students to access tools that are readily available to them, such as Google, the opportunity for an impactful growth in the efficiency and effectiveness of society is provided. Therefore, schools should be teaching students to utilize the tools and information at their fingertips so that they can look further to enhance learning. As a result, the ability to find things out quickly and accurately should become the predominant skill. The ability to discriminate between alternatives, then put facts together to solve problems, should be critical. Plutarch got it right when he said that the mind is not a vessel that needs filling, but wood that needs igniting.